Hey there, everyone. It is Michael Damon back with you for the latest episode of Starbeam.one Stand-Up and Shine. And Shill, we also Shill here. Actually, we're going to be shilling a lot today. This is going to be a good episode. I'm really excited about it. And this is just a series I put together to kind of walk you through a status report about what's going on with my project Starbeam.one, taken after the agile methodologies of talking about what you've been working on, what you're going to be working on, and any sort of friction points that you're encountering. And it turns out so much more. Let's begin. Okay, starting out here with some program notes. We're in Alpha 0 right now. I'm working towards Alpha 1. And what is Alpha 0? Well, it's friends and family. And I'm going to put a little asterisk here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing it. I was hoping to do this back in June when I first announced this, but it's going to be friends and family and the Twitter edition, because I did not get to Twitter to promote this thing at all. And it's just been kind of a hassle for me. And I talked about it in the past episodes here, of just having the awkwardness and the stress of not having been able to promote this at all the way that I wanted to on Twitter, just because when I did this back in June, the friends and family announcement, that morning I spent the entire morning fixing bugs, and then it basically was 2 weeks after that of fixing bugs, and it just took out all the wind out of my sails, and it was not a very pleasant place to be. And so since then I've been fixing all of those bugs, and I fixed all those issues, and I've been incorporating some features. And the other thing that happened after that was this whole administration application, and that's what I have been working on, and it's mostly done. But I announced this product, and there's all these kind of like administration features that needed to be done around that. Now then I was feeling kind of awkward about announcing it because that wasn't done, and so we had bugs, and then we had this administration application that was kind of holding me back, and now both of those are mostly fixed, and now I'm feeling much better. And so now I'm almost to the point of promoting to Twitter, right? Because I think I mentioned it before. With Twitter, I have to be in a special mind space to get on there and actually announce things. When you put yourself on Twitter, anything can happen, right? And it's always one of those things where anyone can say anything, and it can really destroy your day if you're not in the right frame of mind, especially if you don't have your ducks in a row, as they say. And that's kind of what I've been working on here. And so I'm hoping that at the end of this episode, I'll be able to go out to Twitter and say, hey, look what I've been working on. And we will see the true test here. The telltale sign will be my demos. I've got a lot I'm going to be demonstrating here, and we'll see how those go. Because what happened last time in the June announcement is I started going to the demonstrations, and all these bugs started to arise. It was just not a good experience there. So hopefully we'll do better here, and taking a lot of time on this slide, but kind of catching up with what we're going to be working on. Oh, so kind of round off these program notes. I got Coinbase withdrawals, and those are really awesome, and so are the refunds. So lots to cover here. Okay, dashboard. Dashboard is a live anonymous feed that you can check out at any time just by going up here to the hamburger menu, and you can go to the dashboard right there, and I'll take you to the screen. And this is refreshed once an hour, and it shows you all of the pertinent statistics of the system that are currently going on. So do not be fooled by those visitors. That is me. The statistics are woefully pathetic still, and we're hoping to now that all the main features that have been or the impediments that have been keeping me back here are out of the way, we can start getting a little bit more promotion and getting better statistics. So, but anyways, I've been doing a lot of work with getting these visitors. There's been one of the things we'll get into is SignalR and Azure. I got the Azure SignalR service working, and that's basically what I've been doing for the past 3 days. It was really a lot of work, but it took basically just flipped all of my statistics upside down, and none of them worked anymore because of how SignalR communicates, and it was just a lot of work and a huge challenge, and I got that working. So that visitor is actually me. It's just I had a wrong IP address, or a wrong query on the IP address header that I was using there. Okay, so user accounts, these are all the same. Like I said, there's not a lot of activity here for the past month because of this awkward phase that I'm really hoping to work out of now that all of these other features are completed. But you'll see now that we have refunds. So refunds are pretty cool. Those work now. We got refunds working for PayPal and Stripe. So I don't have Coinbase working. Apparently Coinbase does work, but I can't get it working. So I've got a forum thread out there kind of trying to figure that out. But you can see here we've got refunds that are now accounted for in the system, along with everything else. So if you want to see all these, it's history for the past week and the past day, that's what these columns are. It'll tell you of kind of just summarizing those different transaction types. And so moving here, this is how much money Starbeam one has made a full $1.38 in its accounts receivable account. That's from all the network gratuities. That's how we pay the bills. And then network value, this is all the money that's going in. And now you can see that we have refunds are also accounted for. And that number will change after I demonstrate here. I'm going to be testing in the production environment. Hopefully that goes well. And so here's and then we've got the final, the bookkeeping balance here of credits versus debits, and that should always be 0, and it is. Okay, let's go to the next slide here. Okay, what did I do? I kind of talked about it a bit. I got the administration application done, and that's looking really good. That's awesome, right? It's like it's a Hello World Blazor application, and it's got all these different sections. It's sort of like a little portal. It's basically like looking at the database, right? So it's looking at all of key values of the database, and now I can kind of get a good sense, and it's never going to be complete, right? Because there's just more and more information that I'm looking for, but the important stuff's there. So we've got users, we've got authentications, we've got all the processes. So if a process fails, I can re-kick it off and start it over again, which is great. Which is why one of the motivations behind making that. And then a few others. So I got withdrawals and refunds now. So now withdrawals, and we'll kind of get into this, is in addition to getting Coinbase withdrawals done, I've got the workflow in place now. So whenever you make a withdrawal and whenever you make a refund as well, there's a workflow in place that allows me to reject or approve it. So hopefully I won't have to do any rejections. It's just there, for fail safe in case, a compromise happens of some sort, worst case scenario sort of thing. And then I can just reject it or it just sits there. Right. And so that's in place, and that's what this administration application allows. And so it's got all that in place. I've got refunds, withdrawals, and it's just really nice. It's really great. So it's like, okay, now I have that in place. Now I feel a lot better about the application. I feel a lot better with where we're at. And now I can start promoting, right? And start getting into the next phase here, because there's going to be a little bit more promotions. Now I can actually start talking about this on Twitter, right? That's sort of like my litmus test of how I feel about this project. That's I can go on Twitter and chat a storm or share a link and not really have to worry about that. So I can do that again. I'm feeling like I can do that again now. And also just kind of doing promotions as well, and just talking about it in generally. So yeah, feeling a lot better about things. And so kind of getting to the, what else I did here, got the administration application that's done. That's like a V1, it's a V0 sort of thing. I got the Coinbase withdrawals. Coinbase is, that was a huge challenge. I thought that wasn't going to work, but I got that working, and I'm going to be demonstrating that. And then along with refunds. So again, I mentioned we've got PayPal and we've got Stripe refunds, and Coinbase supposed to happen, supposed to be possible, but I'm not so sure. I got a forum post about that. So that's what I did. Let's talk about what I'm going to be doing. Okay, what am I doing? So asking myself that all the time. So on the left there, we've got Excel spreadsheets, and that's how I've been managing this project for over 2.5 years. Really simple, really basic. I just put all the tasks there, and the stories are up top. That's what you'll see with that yellow bar. That's the current story that I'm working on. And the tasks are below that with the administration application. I've got a few tasks that are remaining, and these are in days. So I just measure things in days, half days sort of thing. And I still have a few tasks left on that. But after I'm done with that, I'm going to be moving to these Alpha 1B features. So Alpha 1 is the next version. That's going to be in the October/November timeframe. And now I'm working in, what's released right now is the Alpha 0. So it's Alpha 0 working on Alpha 1 features. Hopefully you can follow along with that. And so I separated these set of features between Alpha 1A and Alpha 1B, and in between is this administration application. So that's kind of how I did that. So Alpha 1A features are already done, and Alpha administration application is almost done. I got about maybe like 3 or 4, maybe 5 more days left to work on that. And now it's on to Alpha 1B. And one of the primary features here, I made a goof, and it's really kind of very clear now in how I went about doing this. I thought I was doing the right thing, and in a way I was, but it's something that I'm kind of going to be backtracking a bit, and that is emails, right? So the users have emails, and I wanted to be really protective about that, and I still am, and I'm really cognizant of that, but it's becoming more and more clear that you really cannot build a system without having a user's email, and it needs to be more of a required than a suggestion. Right now it's more of a suggestion. I really didn't want to collect your email unless you absolutely required it or you're okay with requiring it. And so it just dawned on me, why not just have a dialogue that pops up as soon as a user signs in that provides the permission, right? Gets their consent right there. And then that way they have the ability to put the email in that they want, and then we'll pull it from OAuth 2 if it's available. And if not, it's just a blank form, and they put the email in, and then we have their email. Because the email, there's just so many things to it, right? So the email is a way of communicating, right? And number one, primarily. And then number two, more importantly, is that it allows you to authenticate your account. Even though we're not using emails to authenticate it, if something happens to your account, we have that email to say, okay, prove to me that you own this email, and then boom, then we can get your account. We know that you are you, sort of thing. It's just really kind of obvious now after kind of going through it for a few months, but that's sort of where we're at. So that's going to kind of be a primary priority that I'm going to be working on. And then getting into authentication, that's sort of going along with that, right? So what happens with your OAuth 2? We've talked about this before. What happens if your OAuth 2, Twitter, you put in your birthday was last month? Well, if you do that in Twitter, your account gets suspended. And so what happens to all of your value in starbeam.one? Well, you can't get to it because you can't get to your Twitter account. That's how we use your authentication. That's how we use your security to authenticate and to prove your account, sort of thing. So having that email will allow you to use that as a backup mechanism, and that's what we're going to be doing. And we can also use the multi-factor application as well. Then finally, hopefully, if I get those done, observability is up next for those. Friction points. Yeah. So this is more of the same. It turns out we've got the Azure support figured out. The issue, I'm still not convinced, but the Azure issue there's actually two issues with the issue, and that's a permissions problem, right? So if you add users to a security group, those permissions do not flow from that security group to those users. And so there's security errors that are thrown, and that's not how it's supposed to work. If those users are in a security group, and that security group is the identity of a resource, then whatever that resource has, those users have too. That's not how it's working. And we've got Azure Key Vault, we've got SQL Server that are both having problems with that. And we've got SQL Server, they're telling me that it has there's this limitation that has to do with DB owner. And you can't have a DB owner assigned to a group. Well, I'm still getting exceptions without the DB owner. So I'm not entirely convinced with that. But the Azure Key Vault, the same thing as well. So yeah, a little bit of friction there. It's, again, it's a 1 or 2, but it's been going on since May. And then Office 365, I'm always giving up on that. And so have they. They stopped sending me emails. I might just take that off for the next episode here. But that's what's going on with that. And that just has to do with how Office 365 supports, quote unquote, supports live accounts. And I'm using a live account to authenticate with my Azure account. I can do that with Azure just fine, but Office 365 has a problem with that. They want you to sign in with your corporate or your school account, and that's not what the live account is. But I can assign a license to it, right? So they don't support this account, but I can assign a license to it, and that's a bug. They're trying to tell me that that's as designed, but that's a bug, right? If there's a license that costs money, and I'm able to use one of those licenses to an account, and that account is not valid, that's a bug, right? That's not a as by design sort of thing as they're trying to bill it, but literally because it does cost money for that license sort of thing. So, but right now it's just been a full week, I think, without any sort of interaction with them. So that's the other kind of thing that's happening here. I didn't mention because it's the past 3 days. It's over now, but Azure Signal R. Whew, that was really intense. So there's basically 3 days of getting something that worked perfectly just fine on, my regular Blazor server-side application. No problem at all for however long I've been developing, for over 2.5 years now. Well, what Azure Signal R service allows is massive scale, right? So you can have thousands and thousands of connections with no problem. You can't have that with a regular Blazor server-side application. So I wanted to get that in there, incorporating that in. And it was really funny because when I first put that together, it worked fine. There's no problems. And then about half a day later, I started getting these really bizarre errors that weren't happening the prior 8 or 10 hours prior to that. And so that's kind of when things started going downhill for me. And so that basically took a day to fix. And so that, or even longer. But anyways, it had to do with configuration, and I figured it all out, and that's no longer a friction point, but that's kind of what I went through. So, but overall, not a lot of friction at this point. So hopefully keep that going. There's also Visual Studio. Visual Studio is just it's almost insane how many deadlocks I'm getting with Visual Studio, and I'm getting a lot of it deadlocks, but I'm reporting them, and I'm sort of used to them right now, as terrible as they are. But that's also another friction point. Maybe I'll start putting those up because they are pretty bad. But anyways, next slide here. Okay, Kudos. This is a segment where I send a shout out to those who have caught my attention since the last episode. In the last episode, I don't think I had one, but I did have one, the one prior to that, and that was a month ago. And JetBrains was actually featured in that. And I was wearing my JetBrains shirt. I also have this JetBrains tote bag that you can see that was part of that gift that they sent me, and the drive to develop there. And just wanted to send my thanks out to JetBrains once again. And speaking of JetBrains, that is actually the first kudo that is being sent out is to Martin Baliao. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And apologies if not. But yes, we have got a thread here that just really overly impressed me. It still sticks with me, and that's why I took a note of it. Still, like 2 weeks later, I'm still just like, wow, this is just amazing. And it started out with basically asking what extensions were missing from, Writer, right? Because Writer is like this IDE that JetBrains is developing, or has been developing for the longest time now, and they are really starting to put it together, right? And it's there's two major things for me that were keeping me from adopting it, and they have been addressed mostly. There are a few extensions that remain that are outstanding, but this is how it started, right? And so I was thinking it's more like it was like business intelligence, like just getting a sense. Well, Martin took the entire list that I provided, which was a lot, and went through each and every one of my extensions, or the extensions that I provided, and let me, basically it was like a discourse in Writer extensions, and went through each and every one of them, and I just could not believe it. I was like, what? I thought it was just for like I said, intelligence gathering, but anyways, I was just so impressed with it. I was so impressed with not only just going through each and every one of my extensions that I provided, but also making feature requests, going through the effort of making feature requests and not asking me to do it, right? And that's just kind of the thing, is like, you'll still see a lot of times where it's like, oh, well, can you make a feature request, or can you file a bug or whatnot? Well, why don't you do it, right? That's the first thing I think of. So that's like a thing for me, right? That's the thing I noticed. But Martin here did that. So hopefully it's a Martin or Martin. I'm thinking Martin. I'm trying to space it out appropriately here. Hopefully, I can get it correctly with one of them. But anyways, just thank you so much. Thank you so much for going through that. And then also creating the feature requests too, because it really left a great impression. That's a developer advocate, right? That's, advocating for the developer, exactly word for word, exactly what that is. So thank you so much. It was very much appreciated for that. And just wanted to express my gratitude for that. It still sticks with me too. So thank you. So all right, so moving on here, Coinbase has been historically, I think I talked about this before, that support for Coinbase has been terrible. Historically, it's just been awful. I've had problems with support, and a lot of people have had problems with support. Again, I've been with them since 2017, 2018, around that time, and emails just went unanswered for months and months at a time, and not even ever. There's one thread that I had where emails didn't get answered for weeks or months, mostly months, right? And then it just stopped. I'll reply to it, and it just got lost, right? They just stopped replying. This is like, this is not how you support a multi-billion-dollar company. Well, that's all. Those are old days, right? Coinbase now with I've got the exchange account there at Coinbase Exchange, and the support has been amazing and tremendous. And not only there, but it's been awesome with their forums, right? Their forums have been really engaging, and they've been on it. They've been really just exactly what you would expect, right? And it's just been really great. Their support has been really, really, really good, and they've been really responsive. And there hasn't been, more than I can't think of a time here where it's been, it's gone more than a day without getting a reply. It's just been really responsive and really engaging. So kudos goes to Coinbase. I've been wanting to, send a shout out to them. And so finally here we've got Azure, right? And so Azure, I know I've put them down as friction. But they've, the thing with Azure is that there are some friction points, but when it matters, they get it right? And so I've been kind of going through the support, and one of the things we've been talking about is, this problem I've been facing. I've been wanting to cut down costs because my credits have been I've been chewing through my credits, right? I get $5,000 of credits for my Microsoft for Startups for Azure, and I've already chewed through 3,600 of them, right? And so I'm like, I need to, this is supposed to last me a year sort of thing, and I can ask for a renewal, but I'm trying to extend that for as much as I can. And so, but they've been working with me, right? And they've been, and just right prior to this episode, before filming, I got an extra credit. So now I got an extra $500. So thank you, Azure. Again, it's just like, all this tension around all, what I'm going to do, but when it matters, when it counts, they show up. So thank you very much, Azure, and very much appreciate it. Okay, one more slide here before the main event of getting to the Shill, and this is the effectiveness level. It was actually higher up until 3 days ago when I started going through all of these issues, and I was, I kind of lost some time, but I got Azure Signal R service working, and that kind of dinged me down a little bit. But 8.5 still, I'm really able to get a lot done. The only thing that's really getting me right now are Visual Studio, and I should probably put that in more friction. It's just like these deadlocks are just like, how do these deadlocks happen in 2022, and after how many versions of Visual Studio have there been, and there's still deadlocks, and there's just so many of them, and it's just like, what is going on? And the first thing they try to do is like, we see that you have ReSharper installed. Well, I've gone through almost, it feels like 100 of these deadlocks, and none of them have been ReSharper's fault. In fact, your own feedback tool can't even record these properly, and I've had to go to ReSharper and JetBrains and ask for those DMP files back because your feedback tool is not getting them. So it's not JetBrains, it's not ReSharper, it's Visual Studio. What are you guys doing over there? Ugh. I know, I'm just like, I'm getting really agitated just thinking about it. But these deadlocks are kind of really just a thing now, and also my environment's just generally slow, and that's also a huge frustration. But anyways, outside of that, I'm feeling really, really effective. You probably couldn't tell from all my complaining there, but I feel like I've got my slides mixed up between effectiveness and friction. But overall, I'm just able to get things done, and I'm able to do a lot. And it's also the feeling too, right? I've got withdrawals now, and when you see them, hopefully you'll be as excited about it as I am. And refunds now, this is starting to feel real, right? Like I feel like I've developed a bank, right? It's like an online bank, and not just a bank, but an e-commerce system, like a modern day state-of-the-art e-commerce system that combines Coinbase, Stripe, and PayPal and Coinbase Commerce, and puts them all together, and then plus all of the OAuth too. Like, this is just really amazing. So I'm feeling really good about that. And so like I said, it might be a little bit more than 8.5, but that's where I'm going to put it for this one. All right, time to Shill. It's my favorite part of the episode where I go through and demonstrate a new feature. If I have one that I am comfortable showing off. Sometimes I do have a feature I'm just not comfortable enough to the point where I want to show it off. But here I'm going to go through back in June when I did the announcement for friends and family, and I did a demonstration then, and I wasn't too comfortable with it, mostly because there were bugs that were popping up all morning, and also during a demonstration. Hopefully we have a little bit better luck here with that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a repeat of the June recording with the current state of the application. So I'm going to put 3 deposits in, and I'm going to use Stripe, PayPal, and Coinbase, and then I'm going to take a withdrawal out, and that's going to be through Coinbase, and then I'm going to do a refund, and I'm going to use a PayPal refund. So hopefully that all works. It's going to be involved. So here we go. So you can see, to start out with, I've got my dashboard here, and the statistics have been updated with the proper IP. There's been 0 visitors here. Hopefully that will be changing here in the near future. But what I'm going to do now, okay, so we're at dashboard. That's the menu, by the way, and that's when you want to go to different sections of the site. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the Flares account. Flares is all the money, where all the value is at. And I'm going to go down here. Right now I have 0, so I'm going to deposit. And now I'm going to do 5 Flares. And also take note here, I've got the refund policy, and I've got a withdrawal policy that you can go to get information around the refund. So to kind of quickly summarize that up is the refund policy. I'll actually just kind of click on it to kind of show that. Is we've got 2 types of transactions. One is the out of network, which is what I'm demonstrating right now. We've got, we've got Stripe, we've got PayPal, and we've got Coinbase. So these are refundable right now. And with the other kind, we'll kind of scroll down here, is the in network. So that's everything after the fact. So after you purchase the credits from those external commerce providers, then when you purchase something here with a digital transaction within Starbeam.one, that is non-refundable currently. In the future, we hope to have that where you can refund that. We'll have to set policies and whatnot. But right now, what we're looking for is how you get money into Starbeam.one. That's the out-of-network. That's what I'm going to be demonstrating. And I wanted to balance that, right? I wanted to make that so that you can get money back if you're not happy for whatever reason, right? If you're not happy, you want your money back, you get your money back if you haven't spent it. And that's kind of what I've done here. But also kind of keep in mind that a refund is exactly like a withdrawal, which does incur fees. And so I didn't want to have abuse of the system where you can use refunds that don't have fees, right? I'm paying for that. Starbeam.one pays for the fees there. And so you can take advantage of that, right? So I didn't want to have that. So right now, what occurs is that you can get a refund for all the money that you have not spent, and you can do it once per month. And that's what we're going to start out with here. And hopefully that does work going forward. Maybe we might change that for once every 2 months, or maybe even shorter. We'll find out. But I think once per month is okay. Because what we're also trying to account for is mistakes. Someone made a mistake, right? Oh, I wanted 10 credits instead of 5, or vice versa, and so we made a mistake, and now you want your money back. And also, there's a mistake. You're just not happy with it too. So that's more important in my mind, because if someone's not happy with you or something, and they can't get their money back, that makes me more happy, and that's when things get really bad, sort of thing. So, so now we're accounting for that. You can just go back to the refund policy, and you can get more information. You can read the details there. Okay, with that out of the way, we'll start going through Stripe. So I've gone through this in the June. Hopefully Stripe worked pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in my email address, and this is going to be blurred out through the magic of the video editing software that I'm using. And so I'm going to fill this out. This is a real purchase, a real time purchase. If I can get my form filler. It's going to be like that, huh? Okay, there we go. So we've got my form filled out, and now I'm going to click Pay with Stripe. All right, and so that creates the deposit, and boom, there you go. So there is a little bit of a delay there with the commerce server. I'm going to have to take a look into that. It takes a while to warm up. Even though it is warmed up, there's still a little bit of time there. Okay, so now we've got our Stripe deposit. Now I'm going to go to PayPal. PayPal, you'll notice that it's just so quick. It's just so responsive. So, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to PayPal. So I'm going to do the same thing, but with PayPal. And you'll see here, going 5 flares, which is the currency of Starbeam.one, and then clicking the PayPal tab. And here you got these nice PayPal buttons, and you can also select Venmo as well. So I'm going to click that, and it's opening up a window that you cannot see, and I'm going to fill out the information here, and away we go. Okay, so completing the purchase here, and PayPal is nice and snappy, and then boom, there you go. Excuse me. So we've got our PayPal, we've got our Stripe, so that's 10. Now is the time for the third one here. I keep getting confused on which monitor I'm watching my presentation on. Okay, so now I'm clicking back up to the flares. That's going to bring me to the flares account, and I'm going to hit deposit again. And we're just showing the 3 different ways of getting money in, right? So we've done Stripe, and we've done PayPal, and now it's for the last one. And so also keep in mind that you can have, during the Friends and Family Alpha, a limit of 15 flares in your account. So right now we're almost at the limit. So this is the last set of flares that we can purchase, and that is 5. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on Coinbase for that last tab, and look at also the fees. So you'll notice that I'm passing the fees along to the customer so that they can choose on which one has the least amount of fees. In Coinbase, this is where Coinbase really excels, right? They're very, very low fees, 1%. But you'll see it takes a long time. So you're exchanging that really low fee for a long settlement time. So as you just saw with PayPal, very fast, right? And so Stripe is very fast as well. Outside of the commerce server having a little bit of trouble there warming up, but you can see it's kind of going through this again. You got 2.9 plus 30 for Stripe, and then PayPal's got 3.49 plus 49. And that's a lot, right? That's like the most. But it's really fast, right? And you might already have PayPal and you're just paying for the convenience, no problem. But Coinbase is the cheapest by far, right? 5 cents, you got 1%, plus whatever network fees that you have. I suggest going with Litecoin. That's what I have here with Litecoin, and it's the fastest, and that's what we're going to be using here. And then also kind of just showing that the refunds are not available. Just be aware of that for now, but it looks like they might be available, and if they are, then I'm going to implement it. So what I did is I clicked on that start, and that's going to take you to the Coinbase checkout screen. And so here you go. You've got the checkout screen that should be popping up here. And I'm not sure. I've noticed that there's been a little bit of delay. I'm not sure if that's Coinbase or that's me. But regardless, we're here now. So there's 5:05. You've got this really nice checkout screen with Coinbase, and this is the Coinbase Commerce. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Litecoin. And so now I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to take this to my exchange, and we'll be here in a second here. Okay, that was really intense. You can see that's like 10 minutes that took getting my Coinbase page to load there. It's really intensive with my machine, and like I said, it's just a lot of resources right now. And so there you go, boom. So I sent the Litecoin from my Coinbase account and directly through crypto, and now it's saying thank you and to continue. So I'm going to click that continue here. Oh, sorry, that's wrong monitor yet again. There we go. Click continue, and here we go. All right, yep, completing the deposit now. And so here you can see it's queued. And so now we're waiting on the network transaction. And so I'm going to see if we can click on the receipt, and if that will take you to the receipt. You can see the receipt from Coinbase, which is also really nice. Yeah, it's just my machine's just really super slow right now. And this is talking to Coinbase. And yeah, it's just really this video recording software is just really intense. Okay, so now we've gotten to the flip side, right? You can see the receipt there is really nice, kind of lays out all the details for it. Okay, so now it's just, okay, now we have the waiting game, right? So now, really cheap, like a few pennies, but now we have to wait. And, you know, it can take anywhere from, this is the fastest, by the way, it can take anywhere from 4 minutes to 6 to even 20 with Litecoin. With Bitcoin, it is, you know, it's a lot longer, right? You're looking at least 30 minutes, maybe to an hour. But, you know, it's like, is it worth it? You know, this is kind of like what I really like about this is that we've got a real life example of what to use cryptocurrency for, right? This is what cryptocurrency is supposed to be used for, is value transfer. And as a commerce provider, that's what I'm doing now, right? So, or that's what I'm working with. This is a commerce provider from Coinbase Commerce. And Coinbase Commerce, by the way, I cannot express how much joy I have with it right now. It's a lot better than it used to be. So they have this new beta out, and it does everything for you. So they took all the problems with the previous version, and now they are making it so that it's completely managed. And what I mean by completely managed is that when this LTC hits my account, it goes straight into USD. Like there's no transfer. I don't have to do any sort of transfer. I don't have to do any sort of conversion, and it goes straight to USD. And there's no risk for me as a commerce provider, right? As a USD or fiat commerce, and I don't really care about crypto. I just want to get there. But I mean, I kind of care about crypto. But you know, as a typical commerce provider or someone that's working with a commerce provider, I don't care about crypto, right? I just want to get that value, and I just want to deposit. Well, Coinbase Commerce does that now, right? And it's just amazing. It's really, really good. So there we go. I'm going to be talking up a storm here, and I'm trying to wait for it to go through, but I'm going to pause it and wait until it is finished. Boom, there we go. So I check every 2 minutes, and there it is, right? We checked the network, and the network said it is settled, and there we go. We've got our settled transaction, and we've got 3 different providers with 3 different deposits of $5 each, bringing a total of $15. Okay, so now is the good part, right? This was done back in June when I first announced this, but now we have refunds and we've got withdrawals. So what I'm going to do is for withdraw, so I'm going to click a withdraw if I want to get the money out. Same, I have also made some sales or, you know, resales, and I want to get the money out. Well, here you go. You got that PayPal that was from the previous demonstration. But now I'm going to go over here to Coinbase. And so right now you can see all the rules that are in place with the withdrawal policy and whatnot. I listed it twice. Just it might be a bug, but better be more verbose than not for the alpha, and also just letting you know. Make sure that you know that every withdrawal is reviewed, and that it has to be a minimum of $10. It has to be a maximum of 15. So it has to be between 10 and 15 while the system is under test, right? This is alpha. We're trying to just make sure things work. Okay, great. So with that out of the way, we're going to click connect here, and we're going to connect to Coinbase through OAuth 2, and it's going to connect to our wallet. And so, man, things are just really just churning here. Okay, and it's going to tell you basic OAuth 2 connection. It's going to say what it's going to get access to, and we need your email address, getting back to the whole email thing, to know which account to send it to with Coinbase. Unfortunately, you cannot send to a account, and I have an outstanding thread with Coinbase with their forums there. But yeah, you have to do it through email. And so it's kind of annoying, but it have to ask for this extra permission. But there it is. So at least it's being upfront, letting you know exactly what we're going to be using here. But now you're going to select your wallet. And a shout out to Jay, who's been all about XLM Stellar. And he is absolutely right. I've been using that for testing here, and it is so fast, and there's zero fees. Zero fees so far that I've used it for. So I'm going to be using XLM Stellar. And so I'm going to authorize. And that's going to take me back to the wallet. And so after that is done, it will connect that wallet, that Coinbase wallet, to your starbeam.one account for a withdrawal. Okay, and that's going to be as soon as my machine kicks through here. Okay, and here we are. So it's going to kick over. It's going to remember the last one that you selected. It's just really churning here. Bear with me. But here you go. You see that your XLM wallet, and it gives you the Coinbase's unique identifier that it's using to identify that wallet in your Coinbase account. And I'm just going to do 10 because I want 5 left over for the refund, which is the next demonstration. But here you go. Coinbase fees. I am just passing those fees that I have from Coinbase Exchange. And so what I do, there was a problem. We've got now we're running into problems with maybe speed. Okay. We'll see if we can still move along here. Is it still active? Okay. Yes, it is. Okay. So all I'm doing is I'm taking those fees and passing them on to you. And there is a 0.6 fee for the exchange fee. And what I do is there's actually 3 transactions that are involved. I purchase it from the exchange, and then I transfer it over to my Coinbase retail wallet, and then I transfer it from that retail wallet to your retail wallet that you just connected. So that's how that works. And what we're going to do here is everything is reviewed. So I'm going to hit request, see if this still works, and it gives you a little confirmation. Okay, so you asked for $10, but you're only getting $9.94 in value once all is said and done with those fees are extracted. And there we go. So now you are under review. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my administration application and get that approved. And you'll see that it will get updated here. Okay, so here we are. All right, there we go. So kicked it off, sent it from the Coinbase retail from my Coinbase retail to your Coinbase retail. And there we go. We've got and you'll see that there was just a little bit extra because XLM actually rounds it up to the highest. And there was also a message about that before the purchase. All sorts of details. But, the most important here is that it worked, right? We have 3 different providers. We got Coinbase, we've got PayPal, and we have Stripe. And we put all that into our account. And then we just pulled 10 out minus fees with Coinbase. Pretty cool too. And we can also do that with PayPal as well. I'm just really excited about that. Okay, now for the final display here, and this is almost approaching an hour. I just cannot believe how much time has passed, but it is worth it. I've been kind of looking forward to this for, since the last episode because of the amount of features that are now working, right? This is what I'm saying. Like, I can be really excited about this in earnest now, and hopefully you can be excited about it as well. So, all right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the account screen as we see here, and we're in the account screen, and we've got our value here of $5. I'm just going to go to history here to kind of show the history of all the transactions. You can see I demonstrated this last episode, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to PayPal. Let's see if we can do PayPal. Okay, cool. So here we go. I got eligible of $565, which is the amount that I paid here, and so that's including the fees, right? So you get the fees back that you paid for it, which is what that little wrinkle is why you only get that once every 30 days for now. And so here we go. It kind of goes you through, and you can put in. You can just say other. You can also say if you're unhappy or if there's a mistake that you made. Just see. Okay, so and then it just kind of tells you. So you put $5 in. That's what you're going to be getting. That's what's going to deduct from your accounts, and then there's also the fees that you real world fees that aren't part of the account that also get refunded to you, and that's kind of the total here. So I'm going to press OK, and then what that's going to do is going to say under review, and I'm going to take that and review it here in the administration application. Okay, and there we go. It's processing, and then boom, there you are. You got it. It is complete. And now, with a little bit of luck, hey, I keep going the wrong monitor. With a little bit of luck, you can see the transaction. And there you are. You can have, yes, all right. You got the network identifier, and you can open up a new tab and see your transaction there, and it all just works. Hopefully, that makes a lot of sense to you, and you are as excited about that as I am. All right. Woo! Boy, my poor machine here, my poor Surface Pro 7 really struggles, man. It's just with recording and with Exchange, with that Coinbase Exchange, it was really rough. Oof. It's still struggling right now. I don't know if it's just the amount of time. Definitely the most time that I've spent, with demos and whatnot. But I'm just really excited about it. It worked out really well. And there were a few issues. I've got those tracked down, but not nearly as, bad as what happened in June. And I'm just to the point now where it's like, wow, okay, cool. Now I'm feeling confident about this, and I'm no longer awkward about, having people check it out, because this feels like a banking system, like an e-commerce system, and it works, right? It's got all the fixings. It's got deposits, it's got withdrawals, it's got refunds, and that's all automated, right? I have to do a review, of course, but for the most part, it just works, right? And so I'm really excited to get that out there and start promoting that. And hopefully you're as excited about it as I am. And I also wanted to thank you for any feedback that you have. I've got those hashtags if you want to use them, and I've also got those QR codes underneath if you want to check them out as well. But thank you for any feedback. Thank you for any likes, subscribes, and purchases now, right? I'm going to be trying to get purchases out there. Thank you for all of that, and thank you for your time here. And until next time, stay safe and stay bright out there. All right, goodbye.